wasted.
Well, how about, could we ask you, fantastic human beings, to introduce yourselves to the beautiful people in this room and the lovely listeners to CKUA's Hidden Track. Why don't we start with this person on my left over here?
Sure. I'm Colleen Brown.
I'm Trevor Mann.
And I'm Murray Wood.
I'm Shay Connor.
And together they are...
Major Love.
Wow. Harmonizing and everything.
That's the hive mind working.
All right, so the sophomore album, Spring 2024, greatly anticipated, like we're talking 6 years, greatly anticipated.
Well, yeah.
Live, Laugh,
so.
Major Love.
Yes.
Is coming out May 2024. How excited are y'all feeling about it after all this time?
It feels amazing.
Yeah.
We've been slowly leaking tracks. There have been
for more than a year now.
Well, technically the record tracks have only been since November.
Oh, okay.
But we did release a new single, Live the Dream. We released back in March, so
of 2023.
Yes, you are correct.
You've been building this the appetite for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It feels like a long.
It does. It's been such a pleasure and such a journey as well. Colleen, I'm not sure if those of you who've maybe seen Colleen play by herself as Colleen Brown. She is incredible. She writes beautiful songs and has a beautiful voice, and she brought us this new batch of songs to collaborate on with her, and I was immediately blown away just by the caliber of the writing and the quality of the content, and to be able to be her backing band and kind of lift these songs up and bring them into different forms of life has been so exciting, and we can't wait to get the full record out into the world. Yeah.
And it's worth pointing out that yourselves as a trio, Scenic Route to Alaska, a long-running project, been playing together since you were kids, also have a greatly anticipated album coming out in spring of 2024. Yeah, I know, that's amazing.
And they somehow managed to beat the deadline, like they're getting it out in April and we're leaving, ours comes out in May.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Rushed is one word for it. But yeah, it'll be for Scenic Route, it'll be our 7th record. And so it feels like we've been doing a lot of that, but it feels so fun to have this new invigorating project in Major Love.
Yeah.
We've been at it too for the last 8 years probably. But
we first started playing together in 2015. We met overseas in London in the UK.
How bizarre is that?
Very.
A bunch of Edmonton musicians.
I know.
In Shoreditch, was it?
We just happened,
Shoreditch,
the bedroom bar.
Yeah.
And it
bigger
was,
than it sounds.
Yeah. I don't know. It was about the size of this room, I think. We just happened to be on the same showcase. So that was where the idea started percolating, that we just got along really well right away.
Did you jam that night? Or
no, we didn't jam that night, but we came
Emotionally.
back to Edmonton and I had some grant money that I knew that I was looking for a band to work with. Mm-hmm. I wanted to work with a band that already had their own project, and they have such great chemistry, and they're just obviously such awesome people, and like it just worked immediately. Everything just fell into place immediately. So yeah.
How amazing is that? A bunch of Edmontonians meet up overseas in Shoreditch at a little intimate bar.
Yeah.
And a band is born.
Yeah. Serendipity.
It's so beautiful. What Murray, I'm curious, what do you remember about that night and how it seems like it was kind of written in the stars.
It was 8 years ago, I guess.
I remember it like yesterday.
It was the last show of our Scenic Route's first European tour we ever did. So I think we did 13 shows in 16 days. And we were just wrapping up. It was such a whirlwind. And then, we just I remember watching Colleen, and we had already seen her a little bit around Edmonton, but just being blown away by her set, and right away thinking wow, it would be so great to collaborate somehow. And we were sort of just put the wheels in motion a little bit, but then, coming back home and Colleen already had some great songs ready to go. So it came together really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sort of illustrates to me that the things that we don't see as music lovers, it's kind of like, when you see a majestic swan gliding in the pond and the feet are scrambling like mad underneath the surface. I know Scenic Route to Alaska and Colleen Brown, respectively, even before the birth of Major Love, incredibly hardworking, traveled far and wide. Shay, I remember a CKUA supporter telling us once that they sold you guys their old hatchback. It was your first
Oh, but you're
traveling vehicle?
The vibe.
Yeah, the first touring vehicle we had was actually my Toyota Corolla, 91 Toyota Corolla.
Rolls Royce.
We called it the Rolls Royce. We drove it. Trev and I drove it to Toronto and back, somehow touring in it, sleeping in Walmart parking lots on the way. And the second tour vehicle was my Pontiac Vibe. Actually, on your way out, you can see it. It's still
rolling.
up and running.
Still out front.
We don't tour in it anymore, but we had a Thule up top for all the merch, and we jammed everything in there.
Wow.
Being able to tour like that and as a 3-piece is pretty nice.
Intimate.
And then we got a Dodge Caravan, the
classic.
Yeah.
Living it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to have a word or two about vehicle maintenance later. You clearly
We'll go
know
through
some
the
things.
script. Yeah.
What's it like when Major Love travels together? Like, I just get the sense like that would just be the best road trip of all time. Do you guys like?
Well, we haven't done a ton of it. A lot of the time, we end up just sort of flying in somewhere and communing,
Right.
because we have always our two different schedules are a little bit at odds. So we find time whenever we can. This album release tour that we're doing is one of the first that we will be doing like an extended run in my van.
Rocket.
In Rocket. My old piano teacher sold it to me in 2015, right at the same time. So she's still rolling. Rocket's still going to take us out to Victoria and back, and then we'll fly out to Ontario for the other dates.
Wow, Rocket is a great name.
It came with the van.
Oh, okay.
So.
Very good. Very good. You're gonna have to write a song about it one day.
It's not a bad idea.
Maybe album number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In less than 6 years from now. Probably.
I hope so, yeah.
So the funny thing is, it's been 6 years, but I know that you guys were like literally when you put out your debut album in 2018.
That's right, yeah.
Self-titled, and you immediately started setting to work on this next one. Maybe this is a silly question, but why the half dozen years in the middle there?
Well, there was a little blip in the calendar, you might recall, where everybody stayed at home for a couple years. I don't know. Yeah. And in that time, I put out 2 different records under my own name,
Right.
Winging It and Isolation Songs. Can't imagine what that was about.
CKUA chart toppers. And my dad.
Yeah. And you guys, did you put out 2 albums in that time also? I
No,
think?
don't flex on us, Colleen. No, we
Just one, I think.
just one. We put out one in middle of 2020, thinking that we'd be back on the road within a couple of weeks. and
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be 4 years for Scenic Route.
Yeah.
Between
Yeah.
records, which is the longest. Like for our 7th record, it's the longest we've
I
gone.
mean, considering how young you are and that this is your 7th record, 4 years seems like an
Thanks,
astounding
Grant.
period of
We
time.
don't feel as young as we once.
Well, I might have a little more gray hair.
Classic.
My perspective. I'm really curious to know because I remember seeing Major Love playing kind of like in the teeth of the pandemic, right? When things were just beginning to be possible for live music again. And the Calgary Folk Fest did this amazing, like literally 10% scale festival, which they called Summer Serenades series in their usual venue. So it was a strange feeling to be, there were these isolation zones and, literally 1/10 the number of people you'd usually see at Princess Island Park. You were among the artists that played. I
Yeah.
just remember bawling during your entire set. It was-
Well, I was feeling very much the same, and I think it is so much to do with the, having no music and no interaction with humans for such a long time, and then to be able to go in. For me, playing music is life-sustaining. So I think I speak for all of us in that. 100%. And I know CKUA listeners are people who really love music, so I'm sure everyone can relate. It was just such a wonderful thing to finally be able to do that again. And you are correct that in that moment, I think we were ready to start recording, and we did start recording in 2022.
Okay. In Calgary.
In Calgary, at the National Music Center. It just, all of the pieces had to come into place at the exact right time.
And they have so beautifully.
Yeah, they have now. Time keeps running away on me. I don't take it personally. Time used to stroke my cheek and whistle me to sleep and carry off the tune into my dreaming. Just drifting on that light and breezy feeling. Time, take me back inside your arms. Time, take me back inside your arms. I revel in you every day and night. How you turn the dark to light, your finger on the dimmer switch of life. I wonder how it feels to hold the knife that cuts the wires of consciousness, imbues every second with preciousness. I carry on. I carry on. I carry on. Time, take me back inside your arms. Time, take me back inside your arms. Is this the sound of your alarm? A sweet monotony. All that I know is that I've come, so I will have to leave. Time will take me back inside its arms. Time will take me back inside its arms. Time, take me back inside your arms.
You got a chance to work, as mentioned, at the National Music Center in Calgary, which if anybody listening to this hasn't been there, please go. It is an incredible temple to the history and the power of music, and a living temple at that, in that it's got all these incredible artifacts from music history, which are being used to make music and make records
Yes.
in the here and now. And you were able to work with a great producer too, Marcus Paquin. Tell us about what drew you to working with Marcus, because he's obviously he's worked with the National and the Weather Station, and Hoxsey Workman made incredible records. What was it like working with him?
I will start with that because I actually met him while on tour with Hoxsey Workman and Sarah Sleen.
Oh.
The two of us were backing them up in the band. So the four of us were on stage. It was Hoxsey playing drums and Sarah playing piano, and obviously they both were singing. And then Marcus and I were in the middle, switching back and forth between bass and guitar, and I played all the keys that we were doing. And he sings like an angel, so he would have these beautiful 4-part harmonies. And we did this tour around Ontario, and then the pandemic hit, and we got to Ottawa the day that everything shut down, and it was with them that we all realized what was really happening. That aside, he played the Weather Station album that he just worked on,
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Whoa.
For me.
Masterpiece.
And it is a masterpiece. I'm just such a huge fan of that record and of the weather station. And Marcus, he has just like a really great talent for letting. How would you say this? I feel like he was supportive, and like his fingerprint is on it a little bit, but it really feels more like it was out showing the best version of us.
I would say it was very nurturing. It was like a very organic approach. We've worked with some producers in the past who are a little more calculated, a little more mathematic in how to build up a song or how to make your guitar sound massive. And Marcus was more like, we were planting seeds and growing a garden, and he was just there making sure they were all watered and coming to life. It was a very organic approach. I have that one funny story about the recording process with him writing his name on all those pieces of paper.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so unbeknownst to me at the time, Marcus was actually, he just put out some solo songs for himself, Marcus Pecan, and I didn't know he was working on that, and it was maybe the second day in the studio, and I was pretty intimidated because he's about 7 feet tall. He's a big guy.
Not quite.
He's tall. He's got a presence, and he literally has such a presence as well. And you know that he's worked with some heavy hitters and done some wild stuff. And I went into the control room after doing a couple takes on my guitar one day, and all I see is maybe like 15 pieces of white printer paper, all with a thick Sharpie marker on it that says Marcus Pecan. All it says is just his name with a mat, and at the time, I had no idea what it was about, and I was thinking, like,
who is this
okay,
megalomaniac?
these are the stories you hear about, like, big producers, something's going on. And I didn't say anything to him. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days later. I was like, Marcus, what was that about? And he absolutely lost it. It was apparently his Photoshopper, in order to make his album art from afar, was like, please write your name on a piece of paper for me, and I'm going to Photoshop it onto your album cover. So, yeah. It was just my one little funny aside about Marcus. But I went a couple days just terrified of the guy. I was like, Marcus, Marcus.
Don't you forget it.
Don't you forget it. You know who you're working with. He's an absolutely beautiful human and such a warm, kind, loving guy. And he, above anything else, is just such a lover of music, and he feels it so intensely too, which I think is what made it so nice.
Yeah, and I get the sense that he really got at the heart of what makes Major Love so special as a collective. I feel like the songs that I hear are they're like nuclear-powered, candy-coated, ear candy, Hooksville, incredible songs. But I feel like sonically he just captured what it is. I feel like when the four of you get on stage together, there's just a joy that happens, and it's just uncontrollable. Yeah. I know it's a challenge sometimes to get that down on tape, so I'm really excited that you guys managed to do that. And I think it probably comes from the shared love and the shared respect and appreciation that you have together. Of course, it doesn't hurt that we got 3 literal childhood friends here on stage. How old were you when you started playing as a band, the 3 of you?
How rude. Asking this question.
I mean, we would have been like 12 when we first did,
we're only 20 now, by the way.
I think I had been playing bass for maybe like a week, and when I went to Trev's house for the first time, and we were like, oh, maybe we can learn Stairway to Heaven together. Like we were like learning Led Zeppelin songs, and then Shay moved down to Riverdale not long after that, and then we were like, oh, some drums, and we were playing in like a cover band for quite a while, and then
wow, that's incredible, and remain such great friends. And I mean, Murray, you went off to jazz school in Montreal and got a big degree and came back. You're still a band.
Yeah.
I really find that inspiring. Living together, playing hockey together, as I understand it as well.
I do. It puzzles me sometimes how well they get along. I grew up in a family with, I have 5 siblings, so the 6 of us in the back of the van with my parents at the front, and just like the tension, the feeling it's like don't touch me, and that kind of level. I haven't really seen it.
No.
I really like the love between the 3 of you is really remarkable, and the way that you are able to deal with each other. The interpersonal stuff has always been just really easy. So. Yeah.
This is about Major Love.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colleen. No, it's true. We're so lucky too. I feel like it's all we've known. So, but I feel I think I can speak for all 3 of us that we feel so grateful to have each other. And like Colleen was saying, back to the beginning of meeting her, I was such a big Colleen Brown fan before ever actually introducing ourselves and talking. And I think the 3 of us found ourselves just being like, oh my gosh, we get to work with Colleen Brown. for the first record, and it just felt so intuitive. And I feel like you are now. I mean, if you feel like one of
I'm
the
in the
crew.
family.
You're in the family. Yeah.
Are you playing hockey yet, though?
We'll get her on skates soon.
She's watching
You know,
hockey.
I rollerbladed in high school.
She's got the experience
Get me all
of,
the gear.
of even just like watching an Oilers game with the three of us.
That's- yeah.
When we were doing this record, it was actually the
Yes.
Oilers were in the playoffs at the time.
And you're in Calgary.
So we were being
Yes.
really focused on the record, I swear.
Most of the days in the studio, well, whenever there was a hockey game, they would wear their jerseys into the studio, and then we had to leave by a certain time to get back to the Airbnb in time for the game to start. And the three of them they're just like standing in front of the TV with their beers in their hand, waiting for the game to start. It was the cutest thing of all time. And they do not sit down during the whole game. This is, I don't know if that's ever
Not during the
happened for you,
playoffs,
but
no.
yeah.
Really?
There was
What
some
about,
near
like,
heart
triple
attack
overtime?
moments in that.
Standing.
This is also
Wobbling by then, probably.
This is why the recording process was so fun too, because we had been sitting dormant for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, not only are we getting a chance to play music and make music together again, but we got a chance to hang out.
Yeah.
And you're
You
back
know,
in the playoffs.
And we were, it was an intensive for our friendship again. It was refreshing.
Wow. Wow. I love that so much. And for that and so many other reasons, it's such an Edmonton and an Alberta band, you know, and I love that, you know, some of you have flown off to various different peregrinations around the world, always coming back. You know, Colleen, you've been based at times in rural Ontario and Toronto and Vancouver, always coming back to this major love home base. I think that's
Yes.
really special and really beautiful.
It feels really nice to have a garden in Alberta again. That's how you know that I've like, you've got your roots back. I didn't want to go there, but then, you know, I had to finish the idea. There it was.
That is incredibly gorgeous. What are you planting, by the way?
Well, I haven't planted anything yet
okay.
this year. I do have some raspberry bushes in the back that are very bountiful, so that's really nice to have that. And last year I had cucumber and zucchini and carrots and Swiss chard, and it's mostly vegetable garden going out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been part of your identity. The oatmeal that you used to make was a big favorite for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't made that granola for a long time, but you know, maybe it'll come back.
That
at
was
some
so
point.
much work. I remember we'd see
was a ton
Colleen.
of
It'd be a show day, and she'd be like, "I didn't sleep at all. I made 14 batches of granola last night." She's selling granola at the merch table. It's
know, right?
so beautiful.
The people love the granola. What am I gonna do?
Well, just one last question. What you said reminded me of that beautiful song, Mountain Standard Time. My heart is still in Mountain Standard Time. Can you tell us, any of you, some reflections about that song, what that means to you?
I mean, I wrote the lyrics, so I'll just say that I was living in Kingston, and I very specifically remember, it's a small community, so there were a bunch of people in the area that were sort of new friends of mine, and I remember looking out at the window, and there's the full moon, and I'm, you know, all like curled up in my bed, and I hear voices out on the street, and just like a real feeling like, you know what, this isn't really my home. I think that I will always feel like a little bit of an orphan out here in Ontario. And it was, you know, as things were maybe not going so great in my romantic relationship as well. So, but there's, like a pull, the feeling that this is actually like a necessary part of me somehow. It gets in your bones. There's definitely, this song was one of the most jammy ones for us. So it really developed a lot from the time that I brought. Technically, it's 2 songs, The More I Know and Mountain Standard Time are a twofer. They're a package.
A song cycle.
Yes. And as a group, it really blossomed, I would say.
I honestly don't even really remember jamming that song, and I feel like sometimes that's the best songs are the ones that you don't. It was just full intuition. I feel like Colleen brought us this very beautiful skeleton of a song, and the actual recording for that one is fully live off the floor, including Colleen's vocals. So it's a real experience. No click track. It's just us. It is us jamming.
And it was like we recorded it to be a demo to get the grant to do it.
Yeah.
We recorded it at Moose Farms, which is Postscript. They're like studio
Right.
just north
Great
of
band.
north of Edmonton, and it was supposed to be the demo, but we just loved the performance so much that like Marcus did end up, you know, putting some
You
stuff.
polish
Yeah,
on
he
it.
added a bunch of cool organ and spacey bits to it.
Yeah.
It just sounds
Some
so much like a
pixie
spaceship
dust.
to me. Yeah, pixie dust.
But I
and
think that's
mixed
just
it.
how intuitive that song is
Yeah.
for us. And now it's like
Mm-hmm.
one of our favorites to play live, and it always feels like such like a release at the end. We're gonna play it tonight. So
Yeah.
I'm
Spoiler.
Yes. I mean,
You'll see. The more I know, the more I love. The more I realize we're lost without it. The more I know, the more I budge. The more I leave behind the walls of judgment. The more I care, the more I cry. But what is life without some kind of feeling? The more I dare, the more I try. And every fall shows me the way to healing. Every night when the moon is high, I curl up, cocoon, cocoon. When I lay down, my friends walk by, they're heading out. Full moon, full moon. My heart's still in Mountain Standard Time. My heart's still in Mountain Standard Time. I came east to catch up, to stay close, to love, work all day, work no play, ain't no way, no way. You hitched a ride on a falling star.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.